welcome to the Spiritual Counseling TV network. So today's therapy session is going to be on overcoming our addictions. Everybody has addictions. Let me tell you a little bit about addictions, because addictions can be anything, believe it or not. It can be negative and it can even be too much of a good thing. So when we think of addictions, and even when we say that someone is addicted or I'm addicted, it literally can be something very mindless that you haven't paid attention to that has become unhealthy. It's become too much of a good thing. And it can also be, on the other hand, a way of escaping our problems, escaping our reality, escaping our true emotions. So the motivational speech for this week really has a lot to do with this theme. It ties perfectly in together because a lot of emotional drama can also be an addiction. This is why people hold on to these emotional pains, because they're addicted to feeling bad. They're addicted to victimhood. They're addicted to having people have pity for them. And that's obviously not healthy. And that's what I'm here to help you today on constructing a better life for you through our therapy session. Overcoming our addictions is easier than you think. Overcoming our addictions, first of all, has all to do with retraining our mind. Retraining our mind in, first of all, seeing the positive in every situation. Learning to be more optimistic in our attitude, and learning to love ourselves. Now, I know those are very general themes and terms, but that's kind of like what you should keep in the back of your mind as we're doing our therapy session today, because that's our goal, to eventually get to that place of positive thinking, of loving ourselves so much that we do not let this emotional drama get the best of us. We don't let these addictions rule our life, because that's what addictions basically do. They literally take the reins over your life. And if you tend to be a person who has control issues, you can just imagine how frustrating this is when your addictions are having control over you. No longer are you the one in control of your life or even over your addiction, because that's the thing about addictions. It's very deceptive and it's very cunning, because addictions, at first, it makes you believe that you're the one in control, that you're the one using this addiction to escape something in your life. But at the end of the day, down the line, this addiction comes to ruin your life at the end. That's how deceptive this kind of addiction is. So we need to keep that in mind and not let it get the best of you, because addictions can literally ruin your life, and by overcoming your life, it can literally save your life. That's how extreme this topic is. And I conduct group therapy every week with a group of people who sign up, and we usually talk about either anger management or addictions, because those are the main themes that I've seen, or couples therapy. So if you want to participate in my group therapies, weeklies, they will be held on Thursdays or Mondays. I have to check the date on my calendar. Go to my calendar page, and if you are interested in a specific theme for a group therapy session, send me an email so that I can be accumulating a list of people who want a certain topic, so that I maybe can set up different themes for each week for the different group of peoples. Okay, so that's an introduction about addictions. And I want to point out that when it comes to escaping reality, and the reason why people engage in addictions, to escape their reality, why do people want to escape their reality? Because at the core of this, there's something that they're unhappy and unsatisfied with in their own life. There are these repressed emotions that have turned into something bigger than them. So definitely when it comes to addictions, first of all, we need to get to the core of how the addiction developed. Because by getting to the core of how the addiction developed, you come to realize that really you're the one who made it come about. You're the one who created this dependency over the addiction. Because an addiction is a codependency. You are dependent now on the addiction to make you feel better or to get that fix. And you see how damaging that can be, and how time consuming it can be as well. Because addictions do take time out of your day when you can be productive, when you can be doing much bigger things in your life and thinking more positive as well. So addictions really come about because of our own self-destruction. It's a self-destructive behavior. Okay, and the thing about addictions is that, believe it or not, when people are in that deep hole already and cycle of that addiction, Many of the people don't want to be there anymore. Initially, it might have been fun, but as it gets worse and more controlling, people really don't want to be there, but now it's like they can't help it anymore. And that's what I'm targeting today. How do you get out of that negative loop when you're already in that loop? When you're already sucked in by the addiction? And I know how dark it can seem and how lonely it can seem, right? And how difficult to break that cycle. Because it's like anything in life, everyone has these human instincts. And addictions are very physical and chemically based. But let me tell you that your mind can conquer all physical things. That's the power of our mind. And that's the power of our spirituality foundation as well. So we're going to be using a little bit of everything today. Psychology, our spirituality, and of course our mind, our psyche, on helping us to overcome these addictions. And when I said that it was fun initially to engage in this addiction, the reason why I say that is because initially some addictions are so-called fun, right? Although they're destructive. They're usually engaged because of peer pressure or because you just got too much of a good thing, right? It could be a food addiction. It could be sex addiction. It could even be love addiction, okay? It could be addiction to video games. It could be addiction to negative thinking, because some people are so masochistic that like to feel in pain, right? So there's a whole bunch of different ways of addiction, but all of them have the same therapy to approach them and to heal them, because addiction is basically the act of, right? It's not like you're just addiction. So this is where a group of people come together on a common theme, right? This is why I have my group therapy sessions, because like depression, for example, you can all be depressed, but yet be depressed about a different thing. But you all have that commonality, which is the depression. So you can all support one another and relate. This is the same with addictions. There can be different kind of addictions in a group of people, but yet they're all addicted and they're all embodying that same negative cycle, because it all begins the same and it all transpires the same. And the way to end the addiction is the same as well. So it's about, we're targeting the cycle, the way of the addiction. We're targeting the outside perspective, the concept of the addiction, okay? Not necessarily the type of addiction. So when I'm speaking of addictions today in today's therapy, as I'm giving examples, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm targeting one specific kind of addiction. It can be applied to any addiction of your life. And this is another thing about addictions as well. When one person is addicted to something else, they're very highly vulnerable to being addicted to something else. This is called a multi-commonality, a multi-diagnosis as well, and multi-relational, right? Because usually depression causes addiction, and addiction can cause depression. So it's really all interrelated, you see. Too much of a good thing can cause overdependency, and this overdependency can cause a low self-esteem, because now you're dependent on that addiction. The addiction has taken control over your life, and you've lost all sense of empowerment. So everything is related today. So today, I'm going to be on these therapy sessions getting some tools from my toolbox. I have a lot of psychology books, I have a lot of tools in my toolbox and exercises that I use with my clients and that I've used over the past 10 years with different kind of cases that I've come across. But at the end of the day, it's always the same way on how to overcome addictions, and it comes with the mind. It starts with the mind. And keeping it simple as well, staying focused on what we are trying to solve, setting clear intentions about who you want to be in the future, setting clear intentions about staying focused on this goal, on this new you that you want to become, staying focused on the ideal self that you want to be. Okay, so stay focused on that. So just gonna go to all right. All right, so the first situation and case scenario that I'm going to give you all is the example of the outcome question. Okay, I would ask my client, if this client tells me that they're head over heels over someone that doesn't love them back. This is a classic case of unreciprocated love, right? This person is addicted, or AKA obsessed with something or someone, right? Or a feeling or an emotion. How do we get this client to visualize a different outcome, a different possibility for their life? Because the first secret in overcoming an addiction is being able to visualize a different future for yourself. You need to have a clear vision of what kind of life you want to live free from the addiction. That's the secret number one. Because without that, you're going nowhere. You're going misdirected and you're going without direction. And of course, this leads down a loop of feeling lost and unclearness. We need to be clear about what we want. We need to be clear about our goals, and we need to be clear about how we want to feel. Okay? So this is where the therapy session is going to begin right now. For all of you who are members of my Spiritual Counseling TV network, stay tuned. And for all of you YouTube subscribers out there, I love you all so much, but I now have to keep this exclusive for my members. If you want access to the rest of this therapy session today, giving you a counseling session and basically for a least amount of price, and really genuinely trying to help you from the bottom of my heart to provide you the own tools, to you have those tools in your toolbox so that you can do the therapy in your own life. And not only that, but if this problem resurfaces in the future, now you know how to handle it. Or if it resurfaces in a different case scenario, this is why I'm teaching you the basic fundamentals, not just a specific kind of addiction, but the broad spectrum of the addiction, because this can be applied to any kind of situation. So that's my goal with these programs and with these videos and these new shows and series that I'm starting in my Spiritual Counseling TV network. So thank you all YouTube channel subscribers for following me, and I'm wishing you all an amazing, beautiful week. Namaste.